My name's Kim Wilkins and I'm the carnival team leader here at Yorkshire Wildlife Park. I have a passion for animals that I've had from a very young age, having the wonderful opportunity to be around animals in a farming setting, and then that just continued up into my older years. But yeah, I was certainly more comfortable around animals than people, I think. Asking me to name a favourite is quite difficult. I have a bit of a soft spot for all of the animals on my section, but I do have a particularly strong bond with our polar bears, Victor in particular. They're highly intelligent. We spend an awful lot of time with them, making sure that they're mentally stimulated, that they don't show any stereotypical boredom behaviours, and that's a really important part of our day. They like being around us and we like being around them, so it's quite nice. Yorkshire Wildlife Park is heavily involved in conservation projects around the world, from funding large carnival conservation through Flora and Fauna International in Africa. We help PBI International, which is a polar bear charity based up in the Arctic, and they provide evidence-based data to governments to help change policy to make sure that bears are kept out in the wild and that we do as much as we can to protect their environment. We fund lemur conservation in Madagascar, so worldwide, all over the place. We're really, really proud of the conservation work that we do. They'd been taken from the wild as cubs and placed in 4 cages. They were devoid of pretty much performing any natural behaviours. They were fed through tubes at the front of the cage. The lions we rescued from a zoo in Romania, and she knew that the conditions that the lions were living in were really low welfare standard. There were 16 lions living in 3 by 4 metre concrete pens. No opportunity for enrichment or to behave naturally. It was very challenging to bring the lions here. We were allowed to take 13 of the 16 lions that were there, and all of those lions had to be sedated and health checked by our vet before they then went into the crates. It was a logistical nightmare to then get them on the lorry, to get them on an airplane. They flew into Robin Hood Airport, which is our local airport, and then were driven via lorry into the park, where we then unloaded them into what is now lion country. So it was a Herculean effort from lots of different bodies to get all the paperwork and everything passed as well.
No way, they're in there with it.
biggest difference we noticed in the lions was their general persona. They weren't anxiety pacing, they were behaving normally, resting more because they were on a better diet. They were much more relaxed, they weren't constantly looking for food because they'd only had a small meal. The biggest change we've seen in the bears is probably behaviourally, that they are going out and behaving like bears. So we've seen swimming and foraging and digging, all sorts of, play wrestling with each other. They've never had physical contact with each other, and now they will. They'll do that, and they're very tolerant of one another. Mentally, we've seen those stereotypic behaviours drop in frequency quite significantly. They're not gone by any stretch of the imagination, but much, much less, and the team worked really hard to keep going to try and combat those altogether. The team have just basically managed them the same as we manage our polar bears. We implemented a varied enrichment schedule, a varied training session, gave them as much choice and control over their new environment as we could. We made sure they had access to their dens because that was their safe zone. And over time we've seen those stereotypic behaviours drop. They're very receptive to us being around, and their general condition has really improved. They along with putting on weight, their fur has improved, their mental state has improved. So yeah, we're really excited and really pleased with the progress.